Thank you. I have to follow that. Well, the idea that matters most to me right now is that if we are going to change the world, we have to put some attention and effort into envisioning what those changes will be and what the world looks like when those changes are made. Our technologies enable more and more incredible ways to make the world a better place every day. We will only do that capacity justice if we envision big, and if we do this in a way that is aligned with our personal values, the skills that we have, and our passions. And when we have these visions, we can share them with others and collectively raise the bar on how we're going to make a difference, how soon, and by how much. I work in the speech technology field, where we build speech recognizers and synthesizers in all kinds of scenarios and languages. And, excuse me, but I don't get up for work every day because we are speech enabling the next big Xbox game, or because there's a new application or gadget coming out that's going to completely rock because of speech integration. I mean, I love that, but the reason why I get up for work every day is because I'm envisioning a future where our speech and language technologies can truly connect humanity and really bring people's ideas together, help people solve problems together, enable people to help and rescue each other, to connect, regardless of where they are or what language they're speaking. The phrase game-changing just doesn't even begin to describe what's possible when any human can have unfettered, cogent dialogue with any other human on this planet. That's what I'm working for. That's what I'm working for. Yes, I read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy at a very formative age. I've been undeniably influenced by the idea of sticking a fish in my ear that will enable me to understand the language of anyone or anything in the universe. Even as a child, when I was in school, I was always drawn to the students who sounded different from me, who looked different from me, who came from faraway places, and who had these delightfully different default interpretations of the world we shared. And I ended up doing my graduate work in linguistics with the intention of building technologies that could bring together speakers of all these beautiful languages through this essential modality, the human voice. I've been in this industry for just over 6 years now. And in my group, our mission is to improve lives every day using speech. And we're delivering on that. But I'm envisioning a future where our speech and language technologies fully deliver on a core value I hold. And that is of the equality and importance of every human. And I want to talk through a specific example. No one can forget the devastating earthquake in Haiti in January of 2010. 300,000 people were killed, and about 1.5 million were rendered homeless immediately. 2 years later, 500,000 people are still living in tents with little access to basic services or clean water. More than half have no job. And to make matters worse, in the aftermath of the earthquake, the world's largest cholera outbreak killed 7,000 people and infected hundreds of thousands more. The earthquake operation in Haiti was the largest single country response in the history of the Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. Many things have not gone right in taking care of our brothers and sisters in Haiti. But I want to talk about one of the things that has gone very right, and one that has huge potential to make a difference, a bigger difference. At the time of the earthquake, about 80% of Haitians had a cell phone. Immediately after the earthquake, the air was flooded with SMS texts as people were reaching out, calling for help and to find their loved ones. An organization called Trilogy and their local telecom partner called Voila in Haiti, they saw this level of connectivity as an incredible resource. Within 1 week after the earthquake, Trilogy released Terra, the Trilogy Emergency Response Application. With Terra, you could target SMS messages within a very specific geographical region. So then Terra could be used to reach out to people in the aftermath, for example, to inform people when supplies had become available. Terra is still used in Haiti today. For example, 50,000 SMS messages were sent to people on the northern coast, warning them of a 14-foot surge headed their way from a hurricane. Those messages had information about how to relocate or prepare. Now, Trilogy has actually granted the Red Cross a free license to deploy Terra anywhere in the world. So Terra was a fantastic innovation, born of immediate need. And now there is a project to build on that foundation in Haiti and add to Terra an interactive voice response system which will enable people to participate in surveys. And what's brilliant about this is it opens up a two-way information sharing capability in a disaster situation. So you can broadcast out life-saving information, and then you can take in information about what's actually happening out there. So this is absolutely fantastic, and I'm really glad to know this is happening. But there are a few things that stick in my mind, and this is where I think the power and effort of envisioning can really make a difference. So first of all, why hasn't Terra been more broadly adopted in the world? A delegate from the Red Cross said that installing Terra on a new network would probably take less than 1 week. And did I switch? And then once that was installed on a network, the Red Cross could then send out information about seismic activity, flooding, hurricanes, disease, before it happened anywhere. Secondly, how much more powerful could this be if it were fully supported by cloud-based speech recognition, synthesis, and translation technologies? When you can send life-saving information as speech in addition to text, you are breaking past literacy barriers. And the important information you have can be consumed by more people. And then those people can feed information back into the system using speech instead of text. Furthermore, natural disasters come as a surprise to all of us, and that includes travelers as well as locals. Imagine if you had cloud-based translation technology in this situation, and you could deliver these life-saving messages to people in the right language for each mobile recipient. So imagine this. All networks have Terra installed. It is accessible from the Red Cross headquarters, which is connected to monitoring stations around the world for seismic activity and weather conditions. People can opt in to have their speech and text data used anonymously to build and improve models in the cloud of speech and language. Imagine a global system prepared in advance of disaster, poised and ready to inform and connect humans when we need it most. That's the kind of thing I'm envisioning. So what does it take to make this happen? I want to talk through 4 trends that pave the way. First, and huge, is mobile. The proliferation of smartphones and the applications that run on them continues to accelerate. In fact, this year is an inflection point. In the year 2012, it is expected that the number of mobile devices purchased globally will exceed the number of PCs purchased. The trend is toward faster, lower-cost devices. It's now, it's here, it's very real, and it's probably in your pocket right now. Actually, in this crowd, you probably have 2 in your pocket right now, just a guess. So about 5% of Haitians access the internet daily, but about 95% have a cell phone. More people have access to basic SMS than ever before. And just last week, I saw a chart that really put this mobile explosion into some perspective. With 6 billion mobile subscriptions, more people have access to mobile technology than electricity or safe drinking water. The second trend is connectivity. By the end of last year, 1/3 of the world's in the world's population were internet users. So that about 80% of North America and about 13% of Africa. But even at 13% penetration in Africa, that is a 3,000% increase in 11 years. Also, last October, the United Nations Broadband Commission for Digital Development issued a challenge to governments to connect half the world's impoverished citizens to high-speed internet by 2015. The third trend is the cloud. The proliferation of mobility is powered by high momentum growth in storage and cloud-based services. Memory continues to get cheaper. HTML5 is also an enabling factor. With HTML5, some of the features are designed to work on lower cost and lower power-consuming devices. So application developers are increasingly able to play and to be adventurous with new ways of using speech and gestures and other signals, leveraging the cloud for processing, for experimentation, and customization. App developers can deliver unprecedented value in quality and kind. And the fourth trend is crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is a way to route tasks to a distributed workforce that can handle high volume with low latency. With crowdsourcing, you can do things like get translations done or validation of data. And crowdsourcing can do data collection and validation with huge cost savings, and it's also a way to keep your data very fresh and up to date. So with these four trends, what we have here is a foundation that basically strips us of real technological barriers to solving a lot of big problems in the world. So, what do we need to build, to actually speech enable this scenario I'm talking about? First of all, you have to build a basic system that is good enough to work well enough out of the gate. And in order to do that, we have to make some investments in data. A speech recognizer needs an acoustic model and a language model. An acoustic model is an estimation of the likelihood that a particular sequence of sounds was spoken. To build an acoustic model, you need to have a sufficient quality and quantity of transcribed speech data in the languages that you're concerned with. A language model is an estimation of the likelihood that a particular sequence of words was spoken. And to train up a language model, you need a sufficient quantity and quality of relevant text data as input for training that model. Furthermore, you need to make sure that the language model input, you understand the spoken forms for what's in that input. So imagine that you have some dates in there that use numerals and slashes and dots and things like that. We would need to know what the spoken form is for that. Well, the catch is there's more than one way to say something, and these things are also very region-specific. So these are some of the challenges that can come up in the language modeling area. For speech synthesis, you have to collect enough data from a single speaker to be able to train up a voice font. And in machine translation, an incredible task, you have to have lots of parallel text data in the language pairs that you care about that's relevant to the scenario where you need to be able to do translation. Very complicated. On top of all this, on top of these data investments, there is a considerable science and engineering investment to enable model training, language identification, getting these services to be able to run in the cloud, the routing and management of jobs, and then getting recognition to work across the huge variety of mobile devices with all the different kinds of microphones and all the noise conditions that would exist in the places where people would be using these devices to speak. Okay, none of this is easy, but all of the scale that I'm talking about here is an extension of what's already possible today, and I find that very inspiring. So now you've got your basic system running. Well, the cloud delivers a steady stream of real-world data, and you use that to train and test and update those initial models. And that's very important because if we don't have that steady stream of data, then we can't adapt to user behavior and user needs and the things that people are talking about now. And that's very important for keeping a recognition system that can continue and go forward. Also, you would want your system to be able to accept voluntary input. So for example, human corrections to translations can be rolled back into the system. And finally, to take all of this data in and be able to advance new models back into the cloud, you need that updating process to not be costly, which means it needs to require little to no human intervention. We're talking smart algorithms, machine learning techniques that can take that data, iterate, and deploy new models automatically. Lots of heavy lifting, yes. But again, the foundation is here, and we can do this. So, what would it look like if the speech and language technology community actively collaborated on and talked publicly about a broader vision for how to change the world? And what if we rolled this into our daily conversations at work? You know, for example, as we celebrate each new breakthrough, what if we ask ourselves collectively, what are we doing with this to make the world a better place? And what if we already had that shared vision? And as we make a new breakthrough in technology, we can say, hey, this new breakthrough that we just made, which is going to enable all of these incredibly new, cool speech scenarios for kids in the Connect, this breakthrough is also on the critical path to making sure that kids' speech can be recognized in a global disaster communication system. In the Broadband Challenge that I mentioned earlier, the UN Commission boldly and beautifully asserts that human communication is not just a need, it's a right. People need this as much as they need food and water. And without the ability to contribute and receive opinions and information, people can lose hope and the perspective to make good decisions. And as the Commission put it so perfectly, it is vital that no one be excluded from the new global knowledge societies we are building. That's what I'm working for. So what are you working for? What's your Babelfish? I want to encourage you to indulge in envisioning. Please take the time to ask yourself, how can my effort in my domain make the world a better place? Thank you.